They stopped putting the buds through the machine rollers because it was gumming up the rollers. So they were throwing in sticks and leaves, and I'm like, oh wow,
nice.
yeah, take the best part. And,
They send the leaves now, that 300 joints in a jar every month, the herb and LB. It's all leaf now they get.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's nasty stuff. It's,
But 300 anyway.
yeah, 300 exactly, and sometimes they get a double if they think the dose is low on it. And it's sad because the patients usually have to take the canister, unroll all the joints, dampen it down a little bit, and then roll them back up. I mean, it's some really nasty, nasty, nasty stuff. I mean, I wouldn't even call it medicine at that point. So, any more questions?
So who do you think's got better weed?
Who do I think has better weed?
Mark Emery.
To be honest, it's the Pacific Northwest, and it knows no boundaries. We have the very best up here. We don't have to drive to Amsterdam, kids. It's all right here. It's all right here. Yes. Did you have a question? No. All right.
What are you focusing on? I missed that part.
What am I focusing on? Right now, what I have done is I've taken over as executive director of the Seattle AIDS Support Group. It's one of the largest, oldest nonprofit in Washington State. And to be completely honest, we're working out a way to integrate, to bring on Cannabis as just part of the programming, and then to be able to bring our growers and my other staff on board and get them health insurance benefits and everything else. So I've spent a good part of the decade pounding my head against the wall. How do I become a nonprofit? After an organization called WHAM down in California got their 501(c), which lets them be a nonprofit, the federal government went in there and plugged all the loopholes, which they made it nearly impossible. And so last year it just came to light that this organization was going to ask me to be the executive director, and I went, wow, there we go. Instead of becoming one, I just take over an existing one. And this goes hand in hand with what we do. It's peer-to-peer counseling. We do a lot of recovery issues there, MS issues, AIDS, hepatitis C. I mean, this is already the crew of people that I've seen at my clinic. So this is falling into line. And so we're hoping to have something new come out of this. This is very new. And what our new president and also I hope our new drugs are, this is going to be a reality, and we can give our politicians something that says, here, you know what, we're not just going to be for-profit. It's going to actually help support our communities. It's going to help support sick people. It's going to keep the house open so these people can have support groups and meetings, which I think are very, very important. Because not everybody falls under the 12-step program when it comes to recovery, and recovery is a path. And for me, it's like, I've had to deal with my recovery issues and my medical issues. And part of my medical issues is I use cannabis as medicine. And luckily, we do have some people at the federal level who do recognize that in the recovery arena. They say, okay, this is clearly not medical, and we need to work on these recovery issues. But for you folks who have these listed diseases and you use some medical marijuana, well, that's your medicine. It's not an issue we're going to touch. Yes.
I gave you see, and one fellow American to another one is since you're down there in Washington, y'all gonna use Philippe Lucas' recent Canadian Supreme Court decision as a basis to help the medical patient down there?
We will look at every viable option. Every viable option.
If they're keeping up with it down there in the state, they've seen that Canadian Supreme Court felt that patient right to medical cannabis were more safer and kept people being in environment going on the street than them being doing like we're doing it right now.
Right.
If we could use that same argument with our own Supreme Court, we could do something.
Absolutely. But fortunately, we have a lot of politicians and law enforcement that are already there on that side and who do view that, and they're happy to have the medical marijuana clinics up and going because that removes a certain element off the streets. When they go to do their drug sweeps downtown, the last thing they want to do is pick up grandma scoring some medical marijuana because she has cancer and she's getting some chemo. They don't want that. That's political, and that's the wrong press that they don't want to go down that road. They just don't. So they're actually happy that we're open and we're doing what we're doing. And yes, our system has been tested over the years. And, you know, we stay true. You know, you have to have doctor's recommendation. That recommendation gets, you know, verified. And then after it gets verified, you're allowed to come into it and utilize our services at the clinic. And so law enforcement has tested that, and we've stayed true. And over the years, so we have a decade, we have over a decade of working with law enforcement and the public officials there. And so they know what we say is what we mean, and we don't ever deviate from that. So. Thank you very much.
I guess there's a bunch of notes here that I'm going to make again before our next speaker.